Hello, Feminine Roadmappers. Welcome back to Feminine Roadmap Podcast, the podcast that helps you navigate the challenges and the changes of midlife and empowers you to live a more vibrant second half. If you find us on YouTube today, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you don't miss any more of these powerful conversations. If you're on a podcast platform, please subscribe, rate, and share this conversation, because today we're going to be talking about who you are deep down. My guest helps you get to the heart of your emotional obstacles that are preventing you from getting to the heart of your deepest purpose. My guest is Lisa Haisha. She's a transformational speaker, coach, and the author of Soul Blazing: Transform Your Imposters into Superpowers and Live a More Purposeful, Authentic Life. Lisa, thank you so much for being with me today.
Of course. How fun is this? This is our favorite thing to do, isn't it?
Yes, it is. This is a wonderful way to start my day.
Yes.
So, Lisa,
I love it.
I'm so glad that you reached out to me and that we have this opportunity to meet. But I would love for you to share what it is about this mission and message that really lights you on fire.
Well, I think our world is always going through some sort of chaos or confusion or pain, insecurity, the unknown. And I've been doing this for a long time, about 20 years. And I've traveled all over the world to over 60 countries. I've studied all over the world. I went and spent time with the Sufis a couple of months in the caves of Cappadocia and did the whirling dancing and all the chanting. And I studied with the Maoris in New Zealand and the Aborigines in Australia, the Maasai tribe in Tanzania, well, outside of Tanzania, shamans in Peru, and did plant medicine with Ram Dass and that crowd, really going deep. And I also spent 5 years going to 15 orphanages, working with orphans and talking about their story and recording them and writing a book about them called Whispers from Children's Hearts. And after all of that, I decided to go get a master's in psychology because I thought I was very street smart and I just wanted to learn, be book smart, learn about some of the greats and really tie everything that I had together. And in that process, when you're doing your 3,000 hours, I worked with foster kids and I worked in prisons with women, lifers in prison. And I think I've gained a lot of knowledge from that. And I could feel the pain and mistakes people make. And a lot of them come from what I call imposters, which is wounded aspects of ourselves that happened to us as children. We all have had our pain. We had someone who bullied us, hurt us, maybe a parent beat us, or a parent didn't like us, or you were a latchkey kid, or you were too smothered, you had a smother or whatever on you, so you couldn't grow, too many siblings, or an only child and you were lonely, all these things from working with people from all over the world, and different places. You see what works in one area does not work in another, like with the Maasai tribe, learning about their culture and how they raise their kids and what the family dynamic is. One day a little boy, like 2.5 years old, was crying because his father was going out with his spear to go hunt, and all the women are there to cook and take care of all the community children. And the kid will not stop crying, like, "Daddy, Daddy." And he got his spear and cut his face right there. So his tears would go in and it would burn and he'd stop crying. And I said, "What?" Like freaking out. "What are you doing? That's like horrid." They're like, "No, this teaches them to be a man. They have to be a man if they live out here and they're in the, so what to me is horrifying, and child abuse to them is, part of development. And when you look at them as adults, they're all fine. They're like, yeah, that was a rite of passage. And, no one's going, "Oh my God, that happened to me and I'm traumatized for life," the way we do. So like the little things like that around the world taught me a few lessons of, don't be quick to judge other cultures. And our DNA is different. The way we think is different. Everything, we should allow people their process. And I think, help join in if something is, atrocious, kind of like with what's going on in Iran right now for women's rights. if the majority of people really want that, I think you should have a right to be who you want to be in the world. They say, be yourself, everyone else is taken.
Mm-hmm.
So yes, I'm a strong believer in that, and rights and women's rights and all of that. So what I do is I'm teaching people how to have emotional intelligence and to discover their story. If you listen to, which I've worked with families, if you listen to family members, they all, I listen to them one-on-one, then share it with them. And it's always fascinating. This one said you were broke. This one said you were rich. This one said that you were always lonely. This one said it was too much, so everyone creates a story from their perspective. So what is the truth? The truth is what you choose to make the truth. It happened to me, and I'm going to carry this trophy forever because I was, abused in this way, or this person did this to me. And it's like, I try to go, come on, give it to me. They're like, I earned this. I'm going to take this pain with me forever and destroy my life. I'm like, no. So it's kind of slowly, come on, give it to me. And the way you do that is through teaching them that you get to rewrite your story if you want. What is the truth? It's just what you think it is. And everybody has a story. So what is yours? So what I do is I have this 3-part Zoom class that's always ongoing, and new ones are always starting, where the first, it's 24 weeks, but you could just do 8 at a time or just do one section. But first one is about meet your imposters. And when I say imposters, that is your wounds, your childhood wounds. What archetype, as Jung likes to use, creeped up and started living on the stage of your brain, making decisions for you, and you're not even aware of it. Then the second part is about really understanding who you are. So it's about creating your legacy through story writing and rewriting your story and understanding your story. And the third part is soul blazing your way to abundance, where once you resolve your imposters and you rewrite your life and your story and you figure out who you are and what you want to be, now you could be free, physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. So how do we do that? And then we put all those pieces together, and it's a fascinating class, especially piggybacking on other people, because you get to go, oh, I'm not the only one, or oh, I never thought of that. And you all learn together, and it's like a sacred family that you grow with. So what I try to teach is how you could have a purposeful life. What is the meaning of your life? What is the meaning of our life? And what's holding you back from being your authentic self? Because I discovered 7 imposters after working with hundreds of people. I started seeing so many patterns. And I thought, there's got to be a way to help people just grasp, their little slice of their issues, because the different workshops that I went to or books I was reading was so big and generic of your ego is wounded. It's like, what is an ego? How do you break that down into bite-sized pieces?
It feels very like out there, like it's this idea that has no feet to it, right? It's just this, it's like, where do we connect is what I hear you saying. It's like, I see it, I feel it, but I don't know what it means and how to actually anchor into it so that I can make the changes that I need to make, right? That's kind of what you're doing, is you're helping people really drill down individually. Is that what you're doing?
Yes. And what Brene Brown always talks about, shame and how that's debilitating. So I start putting the pieces together. I let someone talk. I look at them as like clay. I have no idea what I'm doing. Just like in this conversation, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's just organic. So then I start, carving it. Oh, he said this, or she said that. So I like to get people on their feet, because when you think too much, you're in your head. And I don't feel that is actually authentic. I think you're trying to think it through, or trying to please me or the therapist and say the right thing and do the right thing. So I studied improv for a long time because I was an actress. So I studied at the Groundlings. And so I started using some of these, tricks like, okay, stand up, turn around.
Let's talk about how we as women carry these imposters and how it impacts us as wives, mothers, business owners. Let's shift a little bit. And so if we're thinking about midlife, just let me blanket a statement about how we come to this season of our life after living, many of us, certain roles, certain expectations, certain things that women are supposed to be. right? And if you've had children, you've raised your children. If you built your business and climbed the corporate ladder, you've climbed the corporate ladder. Sometimes we come to midlife and we feel unfulfilled, right? I talk to a lot of women, and there's this sense of lostness. There's this sense of being unfulfilled or not certain. Not that what we've done before now is necessarily not right for that season of our life, but we turn a corner somehow. You talk to enough women and you begin to realize that there's like, it's like you're on a road and you come to a crossroads and there's choices and you're not sure which way to go, because which part of you is deriving at the moment can really impact the direction that we take, right? So I would really be interested to see how we can talk about some of these imposters and how we as women can identify why we're feeling that lostness and help us to begin to get our feet back on a path toward true authenticity. Not like, again, not that we haven't been authentic, but I really feel like this season of change, this season of becoming, we've been gaining strength and knowledge and wisdom, right? And now we're here feeling like, oh no, now what do I do?
Yes, and everyone seems to be in flux and wanting to shift their careers or live their passion or be more authentic, and they're weeding out people in their life that
Yes.
are not congruent with who they are. And I think that's brilliant. So just like I was sharing with that story, once you get authentic and you know who you are, then you could start living that life. You started living that life. So with women, we are trained to be our certain archetypes, and we're supposed to be the mother, we're supposed to be the caregiver, we're supposed to take care of our parents, our children, our grandchildren, and have careers now because we need double incomes, and be beautiful and look good all the time and be in the perfect weight. And it's like, you start losing it. So with the imposters, I have an imposter quiz that's on my website, soulblazing.com. I have people take that. And what is your dominant imposter? So really what I'm saying is, what happened to you as a child that created a wound, and you put on a mask and started living your life from that mask? Like, now I'm a narcissist because I was never seen or heard, and damn it, I'm going to be seen and heard by the whole world. Or my father or mother did this, or I was abandoned, so now you're a victim. I never got this, or they told me I was stupid, or they told me I'm never going to be good enough. Or what's wrong with me? I'm a defected child. That was someone just yesterday. She was told she was a defected child in 3rd grade. And then from then on, they hit her, treated her poorly because they said, oh, you're just defective. Like, you don't matter, but treated the other siblings with respect. So she's like now in her 50s, still going, what happened to me? And how do I change this behavior? So when I tell her, well, do this and that, she can't hear. A lot of people can't hear, again, from the shame. They don't want to take it in. So I go, oh, you're imposter. Oh, now you're being very, promiscuous. That's your seductor imposter, because you're craving love and attention, even though you feel bad afterwards. And the moment you're feeling, oh my God, someone cares about me and loves me, but then that's hurting you more. Now you're creating the victim imposter to pop up stronger. Then maybe your overthinker imposter of, why am I doing this? And they're all clashing. I equate it to like a ball of yarn in your head. And you got to, the yellow, the purple, the blue, you got to start organizing it. Otherwise it becomes like a clusterfuck in your head. Too many things. Then you get debilitated and you can't focus or clean it up. You just find yourself crying all the time, or low energy, because it sucks so much from you. So when I started telling her, like, this is your seductor imposter, you've got to make amends with that aspect of you. Then you write a story about it. Where did that happen? Tell me the story about your mom and all that. So she wrote the story down, and this is what you can do at home too. Write the story. My mom did this, my dad did this, and whatever, but 1 page only. Like, write for 3 minutes and just what happened. The first memory you feel of being disrespected or not seen or not heard, whatever it is, and then read it out loud, and then change the name to my dad or my mom and write your name. Like, I did this to me. I did that just for ownership and forgiveness. And read it again and see how that feels. And then rewrite it of what you would have liked it to be, and change the negative to a positive. Because if it happened in the past, it really is a past life. you could take it on with you forever. I believe we've had past lives. If we start taking on all our generational stuff, and that isn't our DNA too, I think our parents, our grandparents, our great grandparents, it's a part of our thinking and how we move and how we act and what illnesses we get, but it doesn't have to be. I was listening to some wonderful medical podcasts, and they all say part of it is DNA, but you could change that and recreate your health and wellness genes by your thoughts, create your attitudes, and they create your actions and what you do. So if you start a mindfulness routine and start shifting that, I started doing yoga nidra, which is a beautiful, like, meditative thing that's supposed to help you neurologically and really set things straight. And that's been tremendous. It's 30 minutes. I do it in the morning and in the evening. And then I write down, who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Body, what archetypes do I want? I don't want to be the seductor or the victim or anything like that. Our goal is to be the authentic soul. But I also, around my office here, because this is where I am a lot, I put up, they say you are a combination of the 5 closest people in your life. I'm going, oh, I'm in my office like 5 or 6 hours a day, so I'm with these people a lot. Let me put them up. And I have some of my heroes like Audrey Hepburn, Pablo Picasso, Tina Turner, Simone de Beauvoir, Gandhi, Herman Hesse, Anais Nin. These people they all, a slice of them I really love. Like Anais Nin was such a beautiful writer and spoke from her heart and was so vulnerable, like in the 50s and 60s. Herman Hesse wrote the life-changing books that I read, like Narcissus and Goldmund. Oprah, of course, Simone de Beauvoir wrote a whole book about women, in the 30s and 40s, of women power and how to become a woman and don't be afraid to share your voice. And she wrote with Sartre, and who was this, thought leader. And that was her partner most of her life. But she was empowering women at that time when it wasn't fashionable and everyone's saying, shh, be quiet. Yeah. So it's like, if you could start going, who do I want to be? I remember Arnold Schwarzenegger once said to me, I said, how did you become Arnold? And he said, he was Arnold. Then he put an invisible box in front of him and he would step in that box. Then he'd become the star, Arnold Schwarzenegger. And he would go around and say, I'm Arnold. And would you like my autograph? I'm very famous. And just go around. So he embodied the star power that people have, where you go, oh, they just have that it quality. He just took that on and then created a discipline routine, because as the archetype of superstar could do it, but Arnold could not, because he's, what's the point? I'll never make it. But he wanted to be the number one, bodybuilder in the world, and he wanted to be the number one box office star in the world, and he wanted to be a politician. So he comes here and marries, into the Kennedy family, and he becomes the number one bodybuilder, and then the governor of California, being a foreigner who barely spoke English and had a huge accent. Everyone said, you'll never make it. You're too big. You're too bulky. But he said he just stood in that and became that. So that's what I try to teach with these imposters, especially for women. We're trained to be small, let everyone else make decisions for you, be giving, be loving. You're second. And it's a beautiful thing to be second, because you're the nurturer. The world can't live without you. And all that's beautiful. And I agree with all that. I throw parties, intimate parties. I'm a total caretaker, took care of both my parents. But at the same time, you have to go, what's in it for me? What do I want to get out of life too? And you have to balance your day, balance your schedule, and create who you are in the morning. If you don't create who you are, the day's going to just go by, another day that's going to be the same as the others. You have to say one statement: who am I in the world? And 3 gratitudes. And who do you emulate? What aspects do you want to take on? Then in your day, you start being that, oh, here's an opportunity to be that. Here's an opportunity to do that. And you put your schedule, like I had your meeting here today. I had a podcast before this, and I had a business meeting for the Zoom classes with my team before that. But then after this, I have blocked out time for 3 hours for me time, for whatever I want to do. I'm going to go do yoga, go take a, weightlifting class, whatever it is at Equinox. And I'm going to go, whatever, it's my time. So if someone calls and says, hey, let's go have lunch, or, hey, let's just chat, I'm busy. Sorry. It's just as much as I wouldn't do that right now talking to you. But most of us just go, okay, because it's us. It's like, that's not important. But if you don't put in your calendar, especially women, time out for you to heal, to nurture you the way you nurture others, It's very hard. You're going to keep going down this spiral, and everyone's going to go, oh, I love you. You're such a good person. You're going to always take that. And, oh, that's just who I am. I'm a good person and I'm a giver. And, so, I took care of my mom. Did you know that? And I took care of my dad. The neighbor down the street, I'm the one who does this. Oh, my friend, I'm the one who took her to, that's like, then they're complaining, but nobody ever does anything for me. And then they start feeling like a victim. So I did a Zoom with a bunch of women and all of them said that. Almost everyone, I'm like, do you hear, you guys? All you guys, nobody does anything for you, but you're the one doing everything for everyone else. So what's that about? So that's your ego of I'm there for everyone. And it's your fixer imposter because you're so afraid of unmasking yourself and putting your voice out in the world that you're being a good person for everybody else. But there's room for both. And there's room to say no to certain people. No is a powerful word. I actually got a motto that says no when I'm about to go, oh yeah, but I love this brand. No. And I remind myself to say no, because it's so easy for us because we're trained that way since children. Especially me, I was brought up in a Middle Eastern household where guess what? You have to go serve tea, you have to go do this, you have to look perfect and be perfect and be quiet, and you sit at a different table and all of that. So
it's so fascinating to me as I'm listening to you. People that I've coached, it always starts with an awareness of who they are and how they're coming to the table, right? And that removing the mask that you talk about, I really feel like that's the biggest piece of the puzzle, because we can't change what we don't know or what we won't face. Because maybe I might argue that there are those people who don't know. It's so much a part of them. Like, if I'm talking to someone, for example, Lisa, and they want my help, I ask specific questions and then I just let them talk. And as they talk, I just take notes. And I'm looking for those automatic statements that you're talking about. Like, I do this, I do that. My mom said this, my sister said that. And you find these threads of who they are and who they believe themselves to be. We're trying to find that authenticity that you're talking about. So I'm hearing that your messaging makes sense to me, because when I reflect back to people the things that they say to me, all I do is write it down, send it to them in an email. I'm like, okay, read this email and let me know what you think. And every time they're like, where did you get this? I'm like, that's a direct quote. Now let's take some time and unfold that. And people are authentically shocked at the things that they say about themselves or about their life. Because to your point earlier, we have these roles and we have these, I call them a tape. It's like you hit adulthood and it's like a finger pushes play and you repeat what you know. And this is how many of us live our lives. And to your point, medically, epigenetics is what you were talking about. Just because everything's been like this for 5 generations or whatever, we make choices that can switch on and off those genetics within our own body by the way we think. First of all, our brain, the structure of our brain with neuroplasticity. It's so fascinating. What you're doing is changing the brain of a person that you work with, because what we think creates structures in our brain. I don't know if you've heard of Dr. Carolyn Leaf.
Yes.
But she's amazing at explaining how a thought actually physically forms in the brain and how you undo negative, harmful thinking. And I think it's fantastic that you have taken the time to dismantle this very complex, like you said, that confusion of everything in our brain. And I think it's genius to write it down, because as long as it's rattling around in our brain, my word picture is birds. If those birds are outside of the cage banging around, they're pooping everywhere, there's feathers everywhere, there's chaos. You have to capture those thoughts and put them in a cage. But overthinking isn't helpful, but getting it out of your brain, then it becomes something you can look at and observe and really begin to investigate. I love the idea of how you process people through that, because it's so important to become aware and then to have a tool, because just knowing it doesn't necessarily help. And I do wonder how you help people who, because we might change, Lisa, but that doesn't mean the people that impacted us change. So we change our story, but how we engage with those people that might still be harmful in our lives.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. I think you need to cut those people who are harmful from your life gently,
Mm-hmm.
just start putting distance. And if you can't, if it's some family member and you have to see them at holidays or whatever, just have that conscious conversation of we're different and we think differently, whatever it is. And let's try to, find one slice that we do click on and let's stay in that lane. I've done that
Mm-hmm.
with several people and they're able to then be in there and they both respect those boundaries. This is off, topic. This is off topic. Just this. This is our comfort zone.
Right,
Then they
right.
can actually get along in that lane. And
Boundaries, that's a key word right there, Lisa, isn't it? When we're going
absolutely.
through this.
Yes. And it's so hard when you've known someone forever and you're going, God, I've known this person 20 years or 30 years. I have to release them because of who they've become and they don't want to grow or shift or change.
Mm-hmm.
I was just at a party the other night that I helped throw for someone who has been a friend for 40 years. And he's the same person. And I'm like, a lot of people didn't come to his party, first of all. So he was bummed and depressed about that. He invited like 60 and about 15 showed, and he prepared for that. But then as he's there, as people are leaving, he starts gossiping about everyone. Oh, that person, da, 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 that person. I'm like, hello, this is what you were doing like 40 years ago. Are you still doing that? No wonder why people aren't showing at your party. You don't even know it. You think you're bonding with the people who are there. I said, no, everyone's going to go, oh, right when I leave, this person's going to start talking about me too. So it's like you have to watch your words when you start evolving and going, oh, what imposter is doing that? That's his victim. Oh, people rejected me by not coming. So I'm going to start rejecting other people. I go, you don't especially reject the people who did show up for you. This is your, team.
Yeah.
So we have to be aware of, because some people aren't even aware they're doing it.
Yeah.
So it's making it conscious.
That's that's one of those humongous mic drop light bulb moments, isn't it? When what we define maybe as connection, or what that person saw as connection, what they saw is, we are often creating our own suffering, aren't we?
Yes. And that's what he said. He goes, oh, those are my buddies. I was just sharing and making fun of, that person did that. And that person was trying to be with that person. That person wanted nothing to do with them, because could you imagine dating that? I'm like, these are your friends that you invited. Could you imagine being with that? Come on. He's like, it was funny. It was a joke. I go, but that's the Joker imposter. Throws other people under the bus to get a laugh because you're feeling insecure. I said, you're being the Joker right now. And I just sat him down. I'm going to have an honest one-on-one because I love you and I care about you, but this is why people didn't show. You're wondering, probably threw all these people under the bus, or they heard you talking and they go, I don't really want to be without that. I don't want to be around that person anymore, because now, as you know, our world is crazy. We have enough stress. I just want to be around people who I know love and cherish me. And if I'm not there, they're going, oh, I love Lisa. She's my, sacred friend. I don't need people are going to go, oh, let's tear me down when I'm not around them. I said, he didn't see it. He's like, I had no idea I was doing that. I said, yes. I was just going, oh my God, I'm horrified listening to you and trying to get your attention. And I finally walked away because it's not my business. But now, because he said, let's get together the day after to how great the party was and what did work. I'm like, did you realize bump? He's like, no. And he said, thank you for sharing, because I had no idea. I said, you're welcome, but you have to practice it now. I said, you've been doing it since I met you 40 years ago. So you've got to really, I said, take my soul blazing class. But I said, you really have to focus on what you say, because what your thoughts create your actions create, your behavior.
Yes.
And I'm going, your behavior is, your thoughts are, I'm not good enough, or I'm not loved because of what happened. So your actions are, let me talk about people. And your behavior then is, acting out where people aren't then connecting to you or wanting to pull away. Yet he's brilliant, talented, and it has all these great qualities, but nobody wants to be around that.
But I feel like when I listen to that story, it's like beating people to the punch. They themselves have been wounded. And so they insulate themselves with these imposters, don't they?
Yes. And sometimes you have all of them. they're all playing at the same time. And that's really chaotic. And I've been in that situation before too, where I'm like, oh my God, I remember this part of my life. And when I just moved to LA to be an actor, I'm trying to please everybody. And, oh, this guy likes pretty women. Oh, let me dress a certain way and be that. Oh, this one likes authenticity or whatever. Oh, let me bring in my authentic soul. Oh, this one's kind of a jerk. Oh, let me bring in my joker and be a little sarcastic and, put people down a little, or, oh, that person's that, let me fit in with whatever the energy is. And then once I started noticing, going, oh, I don't like myself. Why am I morphing into whoever I'm with to be accepted and loved? Why don't I stand in my own power? So I started the journey of taking classes and going to workshops. And because when you start feeling like I don't like me, that's powerful. Then you start being your own worst bully, everything in your mind of, oh, I like this person, but they never like me. Oh, I want to be invited here, but I'd never get invited. You start going, oh, what is wrong? Why? Because your authentic soul too. And you go, wait, I'm a good person, but you keep throwing out your imposters for acceptance. So once I didn't have that terminology back then, but I started going inward and doing the meditations and doing the journaling. And there's a thing that you write. I have clients write for 12 minutes. Someone gave me this exercise because 12 is a powerful number. And just stream of consciousness. When you wake up in the morning, what's in your brain? So how do you wake up? Write everything down. This person did that. Oh, that thought, I have to do this. I don't want to do that. Oh, my stomach hurts. Oh, I ate too much. I'm going to try to diet. Oh, I know I'm going to blow it by, 11 a.m. and whatever people's thing is. But then you burn it, because if you keep it, the toxicity of it is there. But if you get it out of your head, burn it, now you could think clearly because you've got all that energy out, almost like talking to a therapist. Now it's done. Now let me go my day.
Yeah.
And you go, who am I? And think about one statement of who you are in the world. And then you write down a declaration about that, a couple of declarations. Then you say them in conversation with people too. Like if you're always waking up foggy head and, oh my God, I've got so much stress and so much to do. Oh, I wake up each morning with clarity. So if you go, how are you? I'm great. I woke up this morning with clarity. It was wonderful. So you keep repeating it and letting yourself know this is who you are, and it's not just reading affirmations off YouTube. It's what is your issue? Turn that issue into a positive declaration, then speak it and ask your close friends to throw it back at you. Hey, Lise, did you wake up today with clarity? I did. Or, you always wake up with clarity. Yeah, I did. That's just like a silly example, but it works. It really works. So many of my women friends, especially, and clients have, like almost like COVID symptoms, long COVID symptoms, because of taking in so much news and uncertainty and all this. So it's like, how can you have emotional, psychological, physical, and financial abundance in this time? Well, you start with, who am I? And really, really getting to the core of who you are. How do I respect that person? Not beat them up and, oh, I'm lazy. These people are ahead of me or competing with everybody else. You only could compete with you. There's only one you. And I love to use the analogy of an ocean. You get a cup of water in the ocean, there's enough for everybody. Quit comparing yourself to, for even us, another life coach. I don't compare myself to you. Look how beautiful you are. Look at how much wisdom you have. And we've had such different lives. And that's what we bring to the table. It's the voice. And not everyone's going to relate to me. Not everyone's going to relate to you. So what? You don't like my style or my system? Go to someone else, because the goal is for everyone to heal, not for me to do it. It doesn't matter who does it. Just our world needs healing. So I'm not going to, oh, you got to get this out of some people. Oh, you got to get to the level of this person and you should be the next Brene Brown. I don't need to be the next Brene Brown. Brene Brown is Brene Brown, and there should be no next Brene Brown. I should be the first Lisa Haisha,
Yes.
And I just stay in my lane and do what I do. So it's like, even people try to pit us against each other or compete, or this is your goal. I don't have a goal. My goal is to be the best I can be, to be a messenger to help other people evolve or get out of their muck. Because I had amazing teachers from what I shared in the beginning. I had the opportunity to go sit for a month or two at a time in these sacred places with all these wisdom keepers and learn so much from the inside out and doing all these processes, and then really go into the scholarly way of really studying the greats in the history of, mythology, mystic, psychology,
Mhm.
sociology, archaeology, all this stuff that I think are all combined that help create us.
It's such a fascinating thing that you mentioned, like not comparing ourselves to another person. And we are so much better at identifying another person's giftedness, another person's magic, another person's gifting in the world, right? It's so much easier to look at Lisa Haisha and say, oh, she's this, she's that. But we have a difficult time, I think, giving ourselves credit sometimes. And I feel like that's where maybe we as women struggle to allow ourselves to hold a space for ourselves to see ourselves as we really are. Like you said, remove that mask. And I know one of the things that has been really useful is sometimes if you have, say, 5 or 6 people that are healthy, supportive, they're your team, like you said, and find out from them, what are the things that you see in me? Can you give me 3 qualities or 3 ways that I show up in the world that you really appreciate? Sometimes it takes a little bit of teamwork for us to identify who we are in the world and how we show up. Like, what is our gift? If someone is listening and saying, I just don't know how to start, I find that pen and paper, Lisa, you mentioned it several times, is a great resource for putting out into the world the things that need to either get out of our head or need to be shifted. Because for me, being a visual person, some people can hear and do. I need to hear, see, and do, right? And so this idea of journaling and spending time with a piece of paper and rewriting our story is, if somebody's listening and thinking that sounds too simple, just lean into that process. Lisa is speaking some powerful truth here, because there's something to the movement of the hand, pen to paper, and the brain moving that information. It gives us an opportunity to bring it from the subconscious to the conscious so that we can begin to shift it. The shift only can come when we're aware, like I said earlier. I love the frankness that you're bringing the information, because we do need to be a little bit more honest with ourselves, don't we? Like, just be a little bit more, no more pleasing ourselves or pleasing other people, but being willing to just see things as they are and moving from there. Not this isn't a judgment, it's an observation, so that, right?
Yes. Yes. And you can do both. You can be a kind person and also, be a person who has boundaries and says no.
Mm. And that's a shift for women.
It is.
My daughter and I were just talking about boundaries last night, which is interesting that you brought that up, because we were discussing how, we meet these people and they have their own magic, right? But they're constantly in a loop of pleasing. And so because they don't set boundaries, they can't really release their magic, because they're constantly shutting themselves down to make sure that person's okay and that person's okay. And, well, I'm not comfortable with that, but I don't want to hurt their feelings. And as women, we really do need to give ourselves permission to protect ourselves from that kind of unhealthy behavior.
And that's where they get their self-worth from.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Self-worth from, look, I'm doing something for you and everyone loves me because I'm helping them, but they don't understand. Most people then take them for granted, and it actually ultimately brings them pain. And I'm not saying don't do wonderful things for people, but choose who you do it for, and don't do it where it's a detriment to yourself. If you don't take care of you first, as they say, put the oxygen mask on you, you cannot really be there for others, and you're going to resent doing things for others because your life is starting to fall apart. Mm-hmm. So I've been doing this work for so long, and I still find myself saying that, oh, well, I'm fortunate this happened, I have time, I could help. And I realize every person I tried to rescue or save, even just this past year, goes right back to where they were because they didn't develop the muscle to do it themselves. So I rescued them for 3 weeks or a month, but now they're right back, hand out again. I need more help. I need more help. Or they're going around to other people.
And I think for a lot of women, they have, not to become a coach, but acknowledging what they bring to the table in this season of their life, because we talked about being at a crossroads. That's another good exercise, is to identify what they've accomplished, who they are, what skills and emotional skills as well as practical skills that they have. Because if we can understand our own value, like you were talking about, not looking to everything and everyone for our own value, it's a very powerful thing to recognize that, you know what, my time is valuable. I am valuable. What I offer is valuable.
Absolutely. So important. So important. If people could just learn, especially women, to love themselves and love themselves first. Again, it's not selfish. Loving yourself first. I have 4 sisters. I have a daughter. I've got 100 friends. I have so many friends I love, part of my communities and different groups. And I throw big parties with 100 or 150 people 2 or 3 times a year, and then smaller ones with 12 people or 30 people. I love these women, and we cook together and we share stories and we go swim and we barbecue. I have a soul blazing Sunday where 12 to 20, whatever the number is that particular Sunday, and we get together and share. I love it, but it's planned. Here's my box of time for that. Then if someone goes, oh, I need to talk to you, book an appointment. Or, we have a friendship date set up when the blocks of time in my calendar say, here's a play date time, here's a play date time, here's me time, and then it's organized. So if someone wants to infringe on me time, no. What are you doing? I said, I'm hanging out. What are you doing? I don't know. I might be taking a nap. I might be just sitting outside reading a book. Well, then you could get together. No, I have an appointment with me. Sorry. And I don't even say, oh, I have an appointment, or I don't care. I say, that's my meeting with myself. So I'm busy. Who are you with? Myself. I made a date with me. What? But it works, because then I don't resent the time I give to others. Then if someone says, oh, I need help, let's put it in the calendar. You need help writing your book, or you want me to read your screenplay, or you want me to help you find a way to get money for X, Y, or Z, or you need a loan, or you need an investment, whatever. Let's put that block and we'll talk at that time. I don't just say, oh, come into my life and randomly take time.
That is such a powerful way of living, because then your energy is prepared. Does that make sense? Like, I've got energy for this. I know what I'm doing today. And of course, I'm sure interruptions do happen, but you don't have to live the interrupted life as a norm. It doesn't have to be the only way.
Block of time and say, oh, let me move it here. If some emergency happens, if my daughter has to be picked up from school and she's an hour away, oh, she's sick, or a ball hit her. Okay, sorry, I have to cancel these. Or if it's me time, move those and you go do it. But it doesn't happen every day. But if you could live your life saying, who do I want to be? I want to be a giver. I want to be there for my friends and family. I want to be there for myself. I want to learn piano. I want to finish writing my book. I want to coach. I have 4 clients only at a time, privates, and then these Zoom classes at the limit of 25 people for each class. That's it. 3 Zooms, 4 coaching clients, giving time, me time, piano time, writing my book time. Okay, let's organize it every Sunday. And now I have my whole week. I usually do for the whole year in December, block out where I'll take vacation for 2 or 3 weeks. So I know I don't book anything there. And I put in my time, but then weekly I go, oh, what needs adjusting? I know what I'm doing a year in advance. I know when all my Zoom classes are for the rest of the year. So if you call and go, oh, can you do this? Oh, I'm booked during this time. So it's not cluttered. And then you have peace of mind, and you are going to bed at a certain time and waking up at a certain time. And I do my yoga and my yoga nidra, which is like a meditative walking you through relaxing and getting in touch with your body and being whole, and it helps you neurologically. So I'm doing that, doing my gratitudes, doing my pew 12, which is, spewing, blah, 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 putting all my stuff on paper and burning it. If you did that every day and walk and hug a tree, go barefoot, then you start your day. Oh my God, think of how your life would change. You get 3 hours of exercise with weightlifting or tennis. I play tennis and I go to the gym just to keep muscle. If you do that, then you're psychologically, emotionally healthy, and physically, and if you've got those things, you could be a powerhouse in all your other areas. But if you don't, you're always thinking, I'm a fraud. Oh, I'm fat, or I don't take care of myself. I just ate a whole cake, which I did kind of for Halloween. My daughter, I had 2 cupcakes and a slice of cake. I'm like, are you kidding me? I never eat this. But I slipped. I fell off. But, I think sometimes you have to be human and say, whatever. It's not every day. You're with all your friends and you're like, you know what? Let's have another slice. So, yeah. But then you go, okay, I'll just go to the gym. I'll walk an extra mile, or I'll whatever the next day. It's not about perfection. It's about being able to sustain and maintain. And if you're too rigid, you become a rigid person. I like to go to bed by 10 and then read till like 11 and do my meditation and yoga nidra. But if it's 11 because I'm going out, okay, then I'll just still do what I do because it's a muscle, but I'll do it half. Instead of a 20-minute meditation, I'll do a 5-minute. Instead of the 30-minute yoga nidra, I'll do a 15-minute. Just so you're still going, I'm keeping my word to myself, because the biggest issue, especially with women, is we lie to ourselves. I'm going to do this tomorrow. I'm going to go on a diet. I'm going to lose 15 pounds by this date, and I'm going to do this. And you don't do it by day 1 or day 2, or I'm going to, write my book. I have a friend who's been wanting to write her book for 3 years, and she's actually an editor, but she's working for other people all the time, or she's always too tired. Well, you got to put it in your schedule,
Yes.
So in your line, I'm going to start my book. I'm going to finish it by the end of this year for sure. By the end of this year, I'm going to be this weight. By the end of this year, my kids are going to be X, Y, and Z. I'm going to get this one in tennis. I'm going to get this one in baseball, whatever. None of it happens. And you're like, so when you say, oh, I'm going to do this, you're imposter. No, you're not. And your imposters are there. Your authentic soul is the visionary, knows exactly where you're supposed to be, what your life purpose is. Your imposters are there to develop the muscle and skill where it's not being hand-fed to you. Because if everyone was a best-selling author, everyone was a top athlete, life is boring. So it's like, oh, I was created to be your obstacle to help you grow. And I try to teach, befriend that person, because you can't get rid of it. I think it's a part of who you are. But befriend it and say, what do you need? And what do I need? Let's become a team, and we're more powerful together. Then once you could heal that, then you could keep going on your adventure. Then another imposter will come up. Hey, I'm going to trick you now. And you go, oh, I recognize you. Then you start befriending that one, and another one. So it's a constant thing. You're never cured. Life is a journey where you're always having stuff thrown at you and going, seriously, another challenge? I'm done with challenges. But you'll be dead when you're done with challenges. So be grateful for them and just accept it and not fight against it. Or I can't believe this is happening to me, and I'm always the victim. This person, it never happens to. And it's like, stop. The more you say that, the more it's going to happen, because that's what you're putting out energetically. Just look at it and laugh and go, wow, okay. Got into another car accident, my 3rd one this month. Okay. Why? What imposter is coming out? Why am I scattered in my brain? Why aren't I focused? Why? It's because you let interruption. It's crazy. I don't know why I'm so tired all the time, or get confused, or I got into an accident. It's like,
because we're so distracted with everything that we're allowing in, because really it is an allowance.
Right. So we have to really take the time, which I try to do every morning. Look at your behavior. What worked and what didn't the day before? What did you do? Where did you slip? And how can you correct it? And not militant where you're this boring, rigid person. Just, the whole routine could take 10 minutes if you want, or it could take 2 hours, depending on how much time you have and how much you want to give to yourself. But even 10 minutes of just going, wow, like I'll just say a car accident. One of my friends got into a car accident several times. Why does that keep happening? Okay. Why do you keep falling and hurting yourself? I'm going to take time in the morning to go, what am I grateful for? Who am I? What am I here to do? Then you don't have time to get into an accident, because your focus is on a different track. And I know some of this seems like, oh, that's so hard, but it's not when you do it every day. Even if it's 1 minute a day, just to say, oh, I'm going to focus on just who I am today. Then add a little bit each day. I'm going to start doing yoga. I'm going to do 1 minute yoga, then 3-minute yoga, then 5-minute yoga. And it doesn't matter if it's a month where you get to 5-minute yoga. Just do it every day is the thing, regardless of where you are. That's saying, I love me and I'm going to value who I am. And if you love and value you, everything you do is going to explode, because people pick up on that energy.
So true. Lisa, if you were to give 3 tips, strategies, encouragement to my audience, what would those three things be that you really want them to anchor in? Because we've really skipped a rock over a lot of really powerful thoughts. So let's anchor in on three things to help them kind of start.
To start the journey of self-realization
and just takeaways from today. What did you really want them to hear?
I think morning routine is super powerful. Mm-hmm. Start your day. I do mind, body, heart, soul. What am I doing for my body, mind, heart, and soul? I do one thing for each of the, and again, it could be 30 seconds or a minute for each, or it could be 10 or 15 minutes for each. Mm-hmm. The whole, it's up to you. But I'll read something powerful. I'll do at least a minute of exercise, even if it's 10 push-ups, and that's it. That's all I've got. I write a text to someone from my heart, a love text, thank you so much for being in my life and I love you. And soul, I read a passage from something, so many great books or audio books, and even just go and Google, philosophy quotes or self or wellness quotes and just take in something like that, even reading 2 or 3, then it's like, oh, okay, a reminder of who to be today. So morning routine. Mm-hmm. Then I would say at some point, writing down, whether it's in the morning, afternoon, or evening, just everything in your head and burning it, because I think that's always a great way of today's a new day. It's a fresh start. Even if you do it at night, what happened today, all the clutter so you could sleep well, mm-hmm. I would write it, burn it. Now it's out of you. And I think I didn't talk about this, but I would say the powerful tool for me would be to, I love silence because I'm always talking or listening or in a class or learning or researching. So to do nothing, I sit in silence in the park or in my backyard, and I walk on the grass barefoot to connect to nature. I hug trees to get close to nature, and I just sit there and I don't think. I'm not preparing anything. I'm not meditating, no mantra, just listening to the birds, the crickets, whatever is happening, and just being. Instead of doing, I take time to just be. I am just going to be a person sitting and listening and not have any agenda. Even if you do that for 1 minute, I try to do it for 10 or 15 now because I've been doing it a while, but even 1 minute is great. When I travel, I do it a lot. So I'm going, how do I bring that into my daily life when I'm not traveling? So being in quiet, solitude.
That solitude is such an incredible thing to tap into. And if you're on a healing journey, of course, solitude can sometimes be a scary place to go, but I think it's also a very safe thing we can create for ourselves. That's a really good tip. Lisa,
when a thought comes to our mind, I put the thought on a leaf, like, oh, I got to do this, I don't have time. I envision a leaf, then let it float down, then quiet again, then another one. Oh, there's another one. And I just keep going, being, what am I hearing? I think, oh, there are the birds. I just focus on a dog's barking. It doesn't irritate me. It's just what it is. It is what it is. Mm-hmm. Be neutral to everything around you.
Yeah, because silence, to your point, doesn't mean you're not having thoughts. It's whether or not you turn your focus from the silence to the thought. That's that meditation tool of just letting it float by. You don't have to give weight to it right now. Chances are it'll come back anyhow when you're done being.
Not now. Now it's me time. Yeah.
How can people find you, Lisa, and what you do?
Soulblazing.com, SOULBLAZING, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, everywhere, Pinterest, TikTok, YouTube. I have a great YouTube channel with lots of information and videos there. So if you just Google my name, you'll find everything. And the website is where you go to really sign up and really understand what I'm doing, what I'm working on. And, if you want to come and be part of our group and all of that stuff, that's where you come.
Awesome. Well, Lisa, I want to thank you so very much for coming into my world and sharing your message and your heart and what it is you do. Thank you for sharing your magic with me and my tribe. I really enjoyed our conversation today. The way that you show up in the world is powerful, and I believe that what you do is so important. And I'm grateful that you came to share it with me and my tribe today. So thank you so much.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. I love your energy and who you are.
Oh, thank you so much. Friends, today we have been talking with Lisa Haisha. She is a transformational speaker, coach, and author. And if you are on YouTube, just look down below and I will have links to Lisa there. It will be very quick and easy to get to her and her soul blazing process and to get in touch with her if you have any questions at all. If you are on the podcast, please head to www.feminineroadmap.com/episode 303. And that is where you're going to find these links to Lisa. So you don't have to go searching. Her name is spelled Lisa, last name H-A-I, S as in Sam, H-A, in case you're driving and you want to Google her. Friends, today we've been talking about something that is really, there's her book right there, Soul Blazing. And you can look for that because that might be a good place to start. When we start on a healing journey, when we start dealing with those things that have kind of haunted us, taunted us, challenged us in our lives, instead of resisting it, maybe it's time to turn and face. Maybe it's time to turn and deal and really allow space for these things to be revealed because, you know, midlife is such a time of transition. It's the perfect time for reinvention and repurposing ourselves and our gifts and our abilities. And how much better would it be if we were in a much happier, healthier emotionally and mentally, spiritually, because we've taken the time to really face the things that have tripped us up over the years. And we all have it. You need to know that you're not alone in this process. And I think that's the important thing to understand is we all go through this, and trusting the process, getting the support you need so that you can be successful in this process, because I believe everyone is born for a purpose. Everyone has a specific light to shine, a gift to give, a thing to do. It doesn't have to be on a world stage, but there's something precious and special about you. And if you feel frustrated and you're not able to see that coming through in your life, maybe it's time to begin a healing process that you could begin to release that beautiful fragrance that only you have, that you've been given to share. So friends, thank you so much for joining us today. I look forward to sharing more inspirational conversations, messages, and people with you in the weeks to come. Take care, my friends. Bye-bye.